In a world where the rich get richer and the priests get preacher, there is something wholly unrighteous going down in the Gemstone family. A few weeks ago, we found out that the Montgomery compound had been raided by the feds. But who called in the tip? Who was the rat? And why, on everything holy, would they do it? We'll find out this week on Splash Page Presents Get Me to the Church on Crime. Here's what we know. Peter Montgomery, leader of a cult-like religious prepper compound, is fresh out of prison and back on top, leading his flock deep in the woods, so far off the radar that you couldn't hear a tree falling even if you were standing right underneath it. Suddenly, the fuzz arrives. And this isn't just any fuzz, this is the heavy-duty fluff, federal level, with enough gunpowder to take down a fully armed church hidden in the woods. But who knew they were there? Let's look at the suspects. First, we have the Gemstones themselves, that holier-than-thou family of fornicating figureheads who care more for money and power than eternal glory. They had the motive, take down a possible future threat against their mammoth megachurch. And they knew right where to point the feds. But how did they find the secluded compound? Peter's wife Maymay must have pointed the way, right? Could she be the one who called in the cops? I don't think so. Why send the Gems there first, just to put Peter down seconds later? Maybe to cover her own dastardly dealings. But she wouldn't put her own children in harm's way. Would she? Which brings us to Chuck and Carl, the bearded brothers, children of old Pete and Maymay Montgomery. Now, if they had called it in, don't you think they'd have run before the gunfire opened up? Putting yourself in the middle of a live fire exercise is a risky way to cover your own tracks. They did keep in contact with dear old Mom, maybe. At least enough to look guilty when Pa put the question to them. But even if they had, we've already cleared Maymay of wrongdoing. Or have we? Well, this week we got our answer from that paragon of perception, Papa Petey. He tells the boys in full view of the freshly fed family that the culprit was Lucas. Lucas? Yeah, that's right. An as yet unnamed parishioner that we haven't seen yet is what put all of this into motion, right? That makes sense. And therein lies the clue. Because in the final scene, we see the boys are still in league with their loving father, despite refusing his invitation to follow the yellow brick road home. It was a setup from the get-go, and now everyone's going down. Here's what really happened. Peter Montgomery pointed the fateful finger at himself. He called the cops on his own compound, then blamed his own children, knowing that they'd run home to Maymay. From there, Maymay takes the reins, following Peter's plan. She calls her brother and begs asylum. And who is Eli to turn down nephews in need? So mother and sons ingratiate themselves into the family until the time comes to make their move. But wait, didn't we just say it couldn't be Maymay? She wouldn't have put her own children in harm's way. That's right, because the feds Peter called on himself weren't government goons. They were actors, hired by Peter himself to come in and raid his compound. Pete phones in some fake feds, frightens off his own flesh and blood to flee to their maternal family, where they receive Mother's mandate, who already knew the plan from their dad. But take that with a grain of salt, and call me Monday, when we could talk about next week's episode of The Righteous Gemstones. Until then, I'm Andrew. This has been Splash Page. Keep your ear to the ground and try not to get trampled.